Hi guys, I'm Mike Viñas and you're watching Preacher in Blue Jeans. I want to start out this episode by stating a truth, and that is, we are all leaders. Because I believe leadership is not a position, leadership is influence. So as long as you're influencing people, as long as you're impacting people and they're following you, then you're a leader. Whatever context it may be in, whether it's in the office as a boss, as a manager, or at home as a father, as a brother, as a mother. Whatever it is, as long as people are following you, then you are definitely a leader. And I believe that God placed that call, that responsibility of leadership over your life because He wants you to make an impact to the lives of the people under you and the lives of the people around you. And so whatever leadership context that you are in, that you're involved in right now, I encourage you to embrace that leadership because I know and believe that God has a divine purpose for making you a leader. In fact, I want to share with you a verse in first book of Peter chapter 5. It's a great verse on leadership that I believe will encourage you. It says, "Care for the flock that God has entrusted to you. Watch over it willingly and not grudgingly, nor for what you will get out of it, but because you are eager to serve God. Don't lord it over the people assigned to your care, but lead them by your own good example. And when the great shepherd appears, you will receive a crown of never-ending glory and honor." See, when we think about leaders, what comes to mind initially would be presidents, top executives, entrepreneurs, businessmen, or heads of organizations. But probably the least that you would think as an example of a leader would be a worship leader. But if you think about actually a worship leader leads people into the presence of God, leads a congregation, leads a worship team. So I believe there's insight into that. In fact, for me, I've been in ministry since I was 14 years old and I began leading worship when I was 15. And throughout these many years, I've led worship with different teams, coordinated with different people, dealt with different musical directors in different events, conferences. And I've learned so much. I've learned so much, in fact, about leadership in doing all of that. So today and in the coming episodes, I want to share with you 7 key leadership principles that I believe will be able to help you in your family, in your business, in your career, and whatever form of leadership that you are in. Now I want to share with you the first leadership principle, and that is Envision. See, as a worship leader, I lead a worship team. Okay? So I deal with the band, with the vocals. And so for us to be able to be on the same page, I state what I call a worship direction. This is the goal. This is what we want to achieve with the congregation at the end of the service. And so, for example, if let's say the gathering is about God's will, and so we'd want the worship to somehow bring them to a point where they would surrender to God and surrender all their problems, all their hurts, and surrender their lives to Christ. If let's say the gathering would be about problems, trials, troubles, we'd want them to come to a point where they have the courage to overcome those trials and those problems. In the same way, as a leader, you must have a vision. You must know where you're going, where you're headed. In fact, I remember I have a friend, he owns a shipping business. And he's telling me that his ships are being manned or being led by a ship captain. And it is him who has the vision. It is him who knows where the ship is headed. So I was asking him, then in the vastness of the ocean, how come these ships still collide with one another? And he was telling me most of these ship captains sometimes drink on the job. And that reminds me of Proverbs 29 verse 18, which says, "Where there is no vision, people perish." And that's why it's so important to have a vision. As a leader, you've got to cast that vision to your team, to your group, and you have to have them buy in to that vision. In fact, as leaders, I want to say this, we're not just managers, we're visionaries. The reason why a lot of organizations, a lot of companies somehow come to a point where they don't grow anymore is because a lot of the leaders are simply managers. They're simply managing day-to-day operations. No one is somehow thinking of the next step of where to go, where they're headed. And so, as leaders, we can't just be managers, we also have to be visionaries. So when you have a vision, everyone works together towards that destination. Everyone's inspired, your team and along with you, your heads are not so much into the day-to-day hustle because you're fixed on that goal, you're fixed on that prize. Also, you get to align what you're doing now to where you're headed. And I believe that's so essential in terms of leading your people to where you want them to go. So that's the first principle, Envision. I want to encourage you to stay tuned to the next 6 other principles that I want to share with you to somehow encourage you and empower you to become the leader God has called you to be. Again, this is Mike Viñas for Preacher in Blue Jeans, your dose of everyday spirituality.
Hi, this is Bo Sanchez. Thank you so much for being part of this ministry. And I live an exciting life. I really do. So many people have come up to me all these years and they tell me, Bo, we watch Kerygma TV and it changed my life, and I'm growing closer to God, and you don't know where I came from, and my gosh, I'm going to a totally different direction because of your show. And wow, that fills my heart so much with joy. I'm saying, Lord, who am I that you're using? Who are we that we're bumbling, stumbling, weak people, but it's the mercy of God. And so thank you so much for even just listening to me right now, because I have a invitation. I don't want to do this alone. I don't. I want you to be part of my team. I want you to be part of this spiritual revolution that we're blessing this generation with God's love. We're doing a fantastic work for God here, and I want you to hold my hand. I want you to be beside me. I want you to work with me, because together we can do so much more. I want you to also live an exciting life. And if you become a Kerygma TV partner, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to thank you. And the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to send you a truckload of material that will bless your spiritual life. We're going to send you all sorts of stuff, online, and then we're going to send you also material offline, and you're going to be blessed. And there's so much stuff that we're going to give to you every day. Yes, every day. So that you grow closer to God. So that you grow in your personal life. So that you'll be blessed in your family life. Your perspective will change as we give you the Word of God every day. And I'm going to say this again. If you become my Kerygma TV partner, we're going to change this world. We're going to live an exciting life for Jesus. Come with me. There's a button below me. I want you to click on that button. I want you to fill up the form. I want you to pray to God and say, Lord, help me, teach me, guide me on how can I be a blessing to the world. Thank you so much for saying yes. Thank you so much for being my Kerygma TV partner. Thank you, because together we're going to change this world for Jesus.